This wannabe alpha male podcaster is now facing 70 years in prison and $3.5 million in fines after he was arrested for stalking and harassing 11 women across multiple states. But the craziest part is, he documented everything regarding all of his encounters on his social media accounts, and specifically on his own podcast called The Standard.
It's a story I've been following since the late summer, when Brett Daddig was accused of harassing women here in the South Hills at local gyms. Now, federal investigators say he didn't just do this here, he did this across the country. Then he used his podcast to further threaten, harass, and intimidate.
If you don't want to put in any time or effort into me, that's on you. I'll go find someone that will.
Okay, maybe do so without stalking them? Like, this is one of the wildest stories that we've covered in a while, but also so similar to our average story, as the person involved here completely snitched on himself, because it seems like he wanted to come across as some sort of like quote-unquote alpha male on his podcast. And while we certainly have enough manosphere podcasts from guys with little to no experience or real credentials, The Standard was more like a burn book or a death note. Every episode is a mix of complaining about women, being brought to the verge of tears by ChatGPT, and flip-flopping between being a man of God and wishing terrible things on girls who don't respond to his DMs. And after researching this video, I've concluded that this guy might be the final boss of being down bad.
I can't do this. Oh boy. Ooh, lock in, Brett. Lock in. No crying. Hold on. Give me a second. I can't even see my screen to read because I'm crying. Holy shit.
So he's recording a podcast while talking to ChatGPT.
Right now, man.
And that's brought him to tears. Okay, so here he had ChatGPT describe his future fictional wedding, and it brought him to tears as he's, I guess, out walking. To say this podcast is a roller coaster would be an understatement, because after months of doxing girls on his podcast during his manic ramblings, LARPing as a wealthy guy who gets women, and even being arrested once already, he's spending his days in jail now. Currently, he's awaiting a trial for possibly 70 years in prison. And this is a recent comment on his podcast. So it's safe to say that we have quite the wild story here today. So, who is this self-proclaimed love guru turned stalker? Well, meet Brett Daddig, a 31-year-old from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who essentially is a alpha male manosphere guy if we're basing him off of his podcast solely. Essentially, he has a lifestyle podcast, like I mentioned, which is a core tenet of the alpha male phenotype, but he also participates in run clubs, posts himself lip syncing, and claims he has multiple vague streams of income, with one of them being sports betting, which honestly really says a lot about a person if they list sports betting as a stream of income rather than a potentially expensive hobby. To each their own, though. But Brett feels like one of those big things are coming kind of guys. So he's launched a handful of different podcasts. He's launched a handful of different businesses. When you check on his businesses, you just see a bunch of like AI promo content, but no actual businesses. And the podcasts are all over, except for this one. But now he's in jail. So this podcast might as well be over as well, at least for now. It might go on a very long hiatus. But he does claim that he's found employees. So, I mean, they might be let down as well when they find out that he might be going to prison for up to 70 years. And from listening to his podcast, it's easy to see how this mindset bleeds into his relationships. Almost every other day, he's meeting the one or new best friends who are then discarded and bashed seemingly just as quickly. His obvious impulsivity as well as his pure ignorance regarding his own personality flaws make it very easy to see how he crossed lines with multiple women, very quickly ended up arrested and charged with stalking and harassment. But on top of this, Brett admits to being manic depressive, on medication, and he talks constantly about religion and God, and compares himself and his suffering to Jesus.
Let her works bring her praise at the city gate. They're talking about f***ing heaven, you smooth brains. Like, I don't think you understand either. Like, I might get emotional a little bit. You people, like, you look at me and you see my chaos and on my Instagram and you see me calling people out. Bro, Jesus did the same thing. God and Jesus are love. They're a lot of love. They're a ton of love. But they're also wrath. God flooded the earth because he was like, you know what? All of you. I hate what you're doing down there. So guess what? I'm killing all of you. I'm done.
Okay, so I mean, clearly, this guy was a ticking time bomb, and some people, especially those who knew him IRL, seemed to see it from the beginning, which was only a few months ago. So let's go back and follow Brett from the start. So from what I can tell, from what's left of Brett's online footprint, His first time dipping toes in the world of podcasting was July this year. Unsure if there was anything before that. I at least can't find anything. But there's one episode left on this YouTube channel called Decoded. It was posted on July 22nd, and this video is a tough watch and shows quite clearly why it never survived more than, just a handful of episodes. But these guys admit that they just met days before filming, and you can almost tell that a couple of them realized almost immediately that Brett wasn't as chill as when they first met him.
I hang out with a girl I met at yoga.
Oh shit, my bad.
What? No, we're gonna get copyright strikes. Yeah. Before you even get started. Anyways, hang out with a girl I met at yoga a couple weeks ago. Go to yoga with her in the morning. Then go to get breakfast. Then she's like, "Hey, let's meet up later." It's like 8 o'clock. Get a shower. Meet up with her later in Lawrenceville.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm giving the background of the fucking story. Go f*** yourself. Shut the fuck up. Shut the f*** up while I'm talking, please. Thank you. Anyways, she stands me up. I meet this who pisses me the f*** off more than any human being in the world, but I still love him.
Because I know that your attention span is very short-lived, and he's going to tell you the long story short, but it's still going to be the long story. So, I'm just saying.
Please yourself.
Here's how it happened is, okay, we're both sitting at the bar.
You talk. I'm not talking the rest of the time. You talk.
You will talk.
No.
Because you want to chime in. This is your place. Would you shut the f*** up? All right.
You actually have to talk because this is your podcast.
Yeah, this is your podcast.
It's not my podcast.
No, it's our podcast.
It's our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
See
want
how
it.
nice you are?
I don't want
You're
it.
still chiming in. Did you say this is your talk? You're still talking.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, Brett is the guy on the far left in the sofa there, by the way, if you guys didn't know. But as I said, there's a pattern of him referring to people that he's only known for a day or two as his best friends, who he loves more than anyone, and he teases and taunts literal strangers like they've known each other, since elementary school. So, it's clear he wants connection, but tries to leapfrog all the important work and time together it takes to build these kinds of connections, and unfortunately, he just ends up looking like a fool. But I guess when this Dating Decoded podcast ended after like 2 episodes, that pushed him into starting his own solo project, and thus, The Standard debuted on July 24th. So, he described this podcast as the unfiltered blueprint to becoming undeniable, whatever that means. But Brett claims this podcast will be about love, marriage, kids, business, careers, and so on and so on. Which is kind of interesting because from what I can tell, he has none of those things. Because in the first episode, he literally recounts losing his girlfriend, his job, and all of his friends in the last year. So what kind of insight is he gonna give here? I guess he could give us a whole bunch of advice on what not to do.
And then I think about my day. I'm like, what am I going to do today? Am I going to make a podcast? Am I going to record content? What am I going to do? I don't have a job. I have no job right now. I have 0 job.
Right. Okay, so this alone isn't really a problem, but we're painting a picture here because this would have been fine if it didn't progress past Brett talking about, in his words, his rock bottom, and then documenting his personal growth after that. That would have been fine, but instead, it became Brett's diary where he ranted aggressively about the modern dating scene and how angry he is at women, who, by the way, he affectionately refers to them as girly pops, as well as his old friends. They're just haters in his words.
Oh man, it's gonna be a movie, this pod. This is the pod that takes me from being like, oh, that guy's cool as hell to shit, that dude a real one. What a day it was yesterday. Somehow get banned from every Des Moines bar. Can't go out anywhere in Des Moines. I apparently had a girlfriend in Tampa and I raped and strangled and abused her. I'm on the run from the Tampa Bay police. That's why I came to Des Moines. Like, these people have nothing better to do than write fan fiction about my life. It's pretty funny. Got posted on the Des Moines Reddit page yesterday too. I think we got up to like 250 upvotes. 100 and some comments, all fan fiction.
This podcast is going to turn me to a legend. By the way, I was accused of awful crimes, but it's a fan fiction though, and it's all on Reddit.
Reddit is like one of the worst social media apps because like it wants people to like embrace the mob mentality because like if you go against what they're all saying, they just downvote the f***. Like if someone said like, oh yeah, Hitler was a good guy again, like, and then like everyone else like he's a bad guy. So, like obviously like the good guy comment, like he wasn't a good guy. He was not a good guy. I mean, he killed millions of people.
I love how that was the example he decided to pull to compare himself to. But okay, interesting. Again, roller coaster. I mean, hey, if you said that was a good guy, they would just downvote you on Reddit. Okay, but it gets worse. So Brett's Instagram is now private, but he himself refers to stories and posts that he makes often, citing that the reason he often has falling outs with people, as well as the reason he gets banned from multiple gyms, and based on, his indictment, Brett regularly posted women without their consent, sometimes with full names and locations.
I was hurt by my friends. They were watching my TikTok. I can see who viewed my profile and I see their names and I'm like, you guys are so like, if you don't care about me or my life, like why are you still watching my stuff? It just bothers me. Why do you care what I'm doing? Like you don't care what I'm doing. You just want to see, like you just want to hate on me from over here. Like we grew apart. It's okay. I'm fine with it. People are allowed to grow apart. People don't have to be friends forever. It's all good. I got hurt by it and I lashed out at them and I didn't swear. I mean, I posted what I said on my Instagram. Like everyone saw it. And then I posted a deranged video of myself, what I was going to talk about when in our video I was going to release at 8 p.m. like as like pay-per-view, like, oh, like come see this beef with me and my friends, like that's deranged. Like I shouldn't have ever done that. It costed me my podcast that I had with my 3 friends. It costed me my membership at Flow. Mostly it cost me a membership at 45. Like I lost memberships to all these places. Like people were like, bro, you are literally unhinged and we don't know what you're gonna say next and like we can't have you be around us. Like we can't do it. Like if you're gonna talk about F45, you're gonna talk about Flow and then you just like burn us all to the ground. Like we can't do that.
I unfortunately had to listen to the entirety of this podcast to cover the story, and it basically is just an archive of a clearly unwell person becoming instantly infatuated with strangers and then enraged when he scares these girls off time and time again. In episode 1, he referenced a girl that he meets who he thinks is his wife.
I was talking to a girl that I'm very interested in, and she knows who she is if she's listening to this. Really like you, girl. I really like you a lot. Like, I think this girl is my wife. Have her name literally saved as her first name and my last name. That's how confident I am that this girl is my wife. Like, that's how confident. I've never met this person in my life.
And then by the 3rd episode, he's already on a warpath against her for breaking things off after he showed up to her house uninvited.
She's a private person. And I'm not saying her name. There's a podcast I recorded in my car before I went to the gym yesterday morning at like 4:30. She's a daughter, a young daughter. And it was talking about like how I felt so ready to be a dad. I already have like all these girl names picked out for like my future daughter. And I meet this girl and I ask her like, oh, what's your daughter's name? It ends up being my number 1 name that I've had since I've wanted a family. And if that wasn't a sign, I don't know what is. I think I had a crush more on her daughter, honestly. She was stunning. I was like, that girl is going to be a problem for us. And she's like, I know. Truly the cute. Like, I'd be more than blessed to be her dad. And like, I would fight any that tries to talk to her ever. Like, you don't deserve her ever. I don't even deserve her. So then at 8:22 a.m. I said, I'm going to grab a coffee and run some errands. What time should I come over? She goes, I will try to figure that out for you. I said, can I call your daughter? She says, I'm in a meeting. I said, when are they done? Let me know when I can call and come out. I'm heading out your way to pick something up from the mall. Why would you come all the way out here from the mall? This mall sucks. I said, no, I'm going to Ross Park, which is on the way to see you. She says, I truly have no idea when I'll be ready. I haven't done half the work I needed to, and I have not heard back. I said, I'll do the work for you. I have more surprises for both you and her. She goes, no more surprises. Seriously. I said, okay. She put a question mark. I put a question mark back. Then I said, I'll keep the fairy tale husband vibes under wraps until you decide you're ready because you're clearly not. Then I said, just got my fit for Morgan Wallen. You are going to want to rip my clothes off so bad. It's over for you. That was at 1 o'clock p.m. Keep in mind, she told me come at the latest 5 o'clock. I said at 4:51 p.m. I'm here. She says, you cannot just show up here. I'm in the shower. I said, okay, I'll leave it in. I'm done. Don't text me again. She says, as nicely as possible. I have been so busy and just got 2 seconds to myself to shower. I have not answered as I am not ready. I said, if that's how you'd like to be, I'm fine with that. She says, there's been no hate. I do not like my privacy breached time and time again. You just posted more texts to me today. I said, don't worry. I won't mention you. You're not even worth a plot line. You told me it was okay to come at 5 yesterday. I come at 5 today, and then you treat me like garbage. LMAO. Okay, girly pop. Love that energy.
Not to mention, if he hadn't scared her away before, he definitely would have with her daughter's hotter than her cop. Like, what? Please say that she was way older and had an of-age daughter. Oh my gosh. What the fuck? Either way, that alone should have raised some serious alarms. But he continued to name drop girls who call him out on Facebook and bounce from state to state as he got banned from gyms, bars, coffee shops, all while people were calling him out in comments on Facebook and on Reddit posts.
She's down to do long distance with me and then just changes her mind. A girl's allowed to change her mind about you. It's true. The thing is, when I change my mind about a girl, I get posted on Facebook, are we dating the same guy? What? I've been praying about this and thinking about this and talking to all my friends about this. All these girls on Facebook it's all anonymous. Like, I'm the most genuine human being out there. I'll just name her my name. And if you're listening to this, you probably are because you're obsessed with me. Why do you continue to talk about me? Like, I apologize to you for what I did, but like, you ruined my entire life by posting me on Facebook. I broke up with you after 4 days. I was like, hey, this isn't gonna work. You ran on Facebook, said all this and then like I lost my entire friend group. You spread rumors about me. Like these women can just tear you down for no reason because you didn't like them. But then on the other end, I get basically. And then I still can't do it. Like,
in fact, it's almost crazier that something wasn't done about him sooner. I feel like the first few episodes of this podcast had a decent amount of ammunition to have strangers raise some eyebrows about this guy. But we all know how hard it can be to get some justice when it comes to stalking. So, in fact, the indictment filed against Brett on December 2nd outlines multiple cases of stalking and harassment going on during these months as he was posting on his podcast. And he was just going along like nothing was wrong. And he was trying to reframe and pass off these interactions as girls not knowing what they want or just being fake. He's practically allergic to taking any sense of accountability or blame. But to be fair, he always has ChatGPT in his pocket telling him how amazing he is.
I use ChatGPT religiously. Like, it's my therapist, it's my best friend. I wrote this email and I want to make it nice. I will send a text out to someone and I will tell it, hey, analyze this conversation. Tell me how I'm doing. Tell me how I can improve. That's how I use it. I'm not asking it to write stuff for me. I type what I'm writing in and then I have it analyze how she's responding, how I'm responding. How can I word this better? Like, so like she feels more seen or more heard or what, like.
And I mean, that's just a whole nother problem, maybe for a separate video, because a lot of people are using ChatGPT as a therapist, and ChatGPT, it can very much so gaslight you into thinking that you're right all along.
I'm proud of you. You did it.
According to ChatGPT, I had achieved a level of intelligence greater than when I was the smartest baby in 1996.
Because it's safe to say, ChatGPT is not a trained therapist. And there are plenty of examples of ChatGPT enabling horrific behavior. But you can almost read through the indictment and Reddit posts and follow along with his podcast to see what people accused him of and how he passed it off as nothing to do with him and everything to do with these women. And it really makes you realize all these interactions that he paints as pleasant first meetings and then random ghostings, they were just more likely him scaring the women off at their places of work and online to the point where he was banned from the establishments entirely. Like, how many times do you have to do this before you take a single hint? Because after listening to these podcast episodes, no hint was taken. He's even discussed about being arrested on his podcast and spending a couple weeks in jail in August and how he'll never go back. That would have been a wonderful time to maybe take a step back and reassess your life. Yeah, okay. Apparently, he didn't. So now he's currently awaiting trial in a couple days to find out if he's going to be spending the next 7 years in prison or not, and potentially have to pay up to $3.5 million in fines. It goes to show how quickly things like ChatGPT and social media can completely poison your brain and make you think that you deserve a wife and are meant to lead others through a manic podcast. Like, this, well, I mean, it is insane because this is the definition of insanity. I feel like this dude would make Voss from Far Cry 3 actually feel insane. But not to mention, there were clearly some red flags here because people were raising concerns during the entire 4-month period Brett was posting all this stuff. Thankfully, though, it seems like authorities actually took these women's claims seriously. Yeah. I mean, again, if only the first time he got arrested, he reassessed his life. But unfortunately, he did. So I guess this story is just a good example of the warning signs to look out for with people you meet in real life and online. Yeah, I don't know, just insane situation, but his trial is December 15th, so you guys know I'll probably make a follow-up based on what happens. Until then, make sure you subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.